To me is freedom, and you can see the chain right here. It means freedom, and you can see the verb floating in here is freedom right here. And since he is doing a graphic student, he want to do whatever he want to, and this is the head right here. So he can pick up his head back to his body and pick up the spray to do the art. And the typography on his shirt is represent to how much and the power he want to be freedom.
All right, well, this is my poster. It's called Brain Explosion. What I did for it is the obvious metaphor is the egg head, and that's attached to my body wearing a suit. The obvious metaphor is me breaking out of my shell. Before I enrolled in college, I was doing tech support, and that's kind of more formal tech support. So when I was able to enroll, I was able to do what I wanted to do, which was more creative, more light, brighter. Also at CSN, doing the design courses, it was more finite design work, more layout and typography rather than illustration. So when I was given the theme of unbridled, I decided to again break out of my shell and do more cartoons and illustrations like the blimp, and I do a lot of creepy things like this guy right here, and then I'd also like to do cartoons. There's also a throwback to my previous creative days, lighting in the theater, so that's why those beams of lights are there for theater lighting it. So that's my poster, and that's pretty much what it means. I tried to keep every illustration a different style as much as I could, because ideas are never uniform, they're never the same, they never smell or taste or feel the same, they're always different, so that hence the different styles.
Nope, that's not it. Here. Well, this piece is called Courage, and it's all about conquering your fears and doubts, because sometimes your fears and doubts can layer up until it's as big as a giant. And what the knight represents is yourself, and you just gotta suck it up sometimes, and you just gotta say, screw it, I'm going for it. And that's what this is about. And this is all handmade. This is all handmade. I just cut out with an X-Acto blade, pasted on a piece of paper, and photographed and put into Photoshop and just go to town with the filters. So that's the
So what I made is, this whole thing is supposed to feel like I've been distracted. It's supposed to symbolize that I'm being distracted. All these things, according to like these characters, are supposed to symbolize my self-consciousness. It's supposed to show that, like, if you could get more detail, I don't know if it's going to show on the camera, but sucks, which is telling me that I suck, and get back to work as I get distracted a lot, as well as this guy controlling me on what to do. Food distracts me, video games distract me, everything distracts me. And then everything in the middle is supposed to symbolize breaking free. It's supposed to be unbridled.
I see it now, but these colors over here are so muted. I know you got this going on, and that's great, but I'm not sure if I see you yet. I just see an egg and something else coming out.
Yeah, Illustrator. Oh, I was supposed to talk about that. Yeah, all this work was hand drawn and done on Illustrator, with traced with a pencil.
Still sort of like in the same category these guys are.
I learned a lot, especially with the pattern. I didn't know how to make a pattern before. These are all individual lines. Everything here from the gray. At first, they were all individual lines. This was supposed to be the first one that I did before. All of these here on the ink is supposed to symbolize, not symbolize, but they're all individual lines at first. But then once I got more experience from trial and error, I learned how to make patterns, making the lines a little skinnier.
Where do I need to stand? Just here is fine. Okay. Well, one of our original ideas for the class was to use the concept of unbridled as describing a child's imagination. That a child, when they're being creative, has no boundaries. They have no limitations of right or wrong or what's possible or impossible. They're just creative and free. They're unbridled. And so my poster is meant to represent that as the child's own space to be creative is their treehouse. And that's their mission control. The place where they go, where they can launch rockets at the moon, they can look for aliens in outer space, they can do whatever they want. And there's no one to tell them that it's right or wrong, that it's impossible, because it's their creative space. And so as designers, I think we all need to hold on to this creative space that we have from children, and every now and then just go there and design something, whatever you want, and not worry about the rules of whatever you're supposed to be doing, or whatever you're not supposed to be doing, or what's possible or not possible. Just be creative and see what comes out. And so this poster represents my mission control, my space that I had as a child. And so the weathered textures and things, it shows all of this that the poster's been through, and I've been saving it for decades because I'm holding on to that space and not letting it go and always being creative.
What did you learn by doing this piece?
What did I learn? I don't know. That I really wish I had a treehouse.
Okay, so the concept for my poster is basically my own interpretation of what a funnel means for me. In which case, it is being for free and not being tied down to anything, which is this part right here. Once free of any restraints I might put on myself, I can then let my passion flow out of my hands, and basically put it on any surface that I want. And not sure if you can tell, but in the center there is a phoenix, and one of the representations of the phoenix is immortality, and that is what I feel my passion is. I always wanted to be there and never die. Both Photoshop and Illustrator.
Okay, this piece is actually based on a photograph of my father and me when I was little, obviously. Yeah. I feel like it's the perfect representation of the love and support he's given me throughout my entire life. And it works very well with the theme, which is unbridled, so it's unbridled support and love. I basically did an illustration of the photograph in ink on Mylar, and then I scanned it in and I colored it in Photoshop. The background is a watercolor painting that I did and scanned in, and then I added some texture for depth. The words in the background are in Armenian. They're lyrics from a song, a woman singing to her father, basically expressing her gratitude and, talking about how he sacrificed so much to make sure that they were taken care of, and, that his whole life was about loving them and just saying, we don't take that for granted, and thank you. And I wanted to write something myself, but when my mother told me about this song, I just thought it was perfect and it said everything I wanted to say, so that's what I used.
What did you learn from doing this?
As far as technique? Well, it was just a really emotional process, actually, just because it was so personal. I've never done anything this personal where I'm actually in it, so that was kind of cool. And then it was just, I haven't really done too much stuff where I'm mixing the mediums, I guess, where it's my own illustrations and my own painting, mixed with digital. So that was a cool experience.
What applications did you use?
I used Illustrator and Photoshop.
All right, so we were asked to design something that represents our unbridled spirit, and for me that's classic rock. I wanted to go ahead and do a tribute to those artists who were becoming unbridled, moving away from the bubblegum pop era of Beach Boys and the Monkees and the Archies, kind of give it that old AC/DC vinyl feel without doing something in Photoshop and just adding a texture. I went ahead and hand illustrated the song titles that make me feel the most unbridled, then put them into Illustrator and finish the rest out through there. What I like most about this design piece is no matter what way that you spin it, however you hang it, you're going to see something new, a different inspiration, a new perspective.
What are some of the words in there?
We have American Woman, Satisfaction, Born to be Wild, Life is a Highway, Fortunate Son, Peace of Mind. There's various rock and roll artists up there.
What did you learn from doing this?
That I can combine my photography with my design, but using different programs and different approaches. For instance, the splatter here was created using a picture that I had taken of a tree.
This represents what happens when I pick up a controller and a whole bunch of games come through my head, and I wanted to show unbridled, like through the chord, all the games that I think of in my head just come out. Same with the music, like when I'm about to listen to a song, this is what happens. I try to illustrate it in a way that it looks like it's coming out, like escaping from the chord. I hand drew this. I sketched it out first. I went over in pen, and then I brought it into I scanned it in, and then I brought it into Photoshop, and I touched it up a little bit, and then I brought it into Illustrator and colored it, and then I brought it right back into Photoshop to finalize it.
What did you learn from doing this?
I learned that I can the stuff in my head, it can come out. I can draw it, which is pretty cool. This took like maybe 3 days. 3 days to come up with like ideas and sketch everything out. I went through like so many sketches that I didn't like, and until I found one. And then I had to go through like the placement and everything.
Did you sleep for those 3 days?
No, I didn't sleep at all. I stayed up trying to get this done. I wanted it. I didn't want to sleep at all because I wanted to get it fresh out of my brain, and so I wasn't able to relax unless I actually got most of it done. So after I finalized it and everything, I was able to relax for a little bit until I had to mess with the type for a while to get it just right.
So I'm gonna talk about.
I really like that one.
Which one? That's Robert's.
I'll know what you say once you say it. Tell me how you.
So I go up the inspiration for this poster was my childhood. So basically, you know, when you're a child, you need to dream big to continue, you know, your journey through the life. And I wanted to show this, that if you just unbridle your imagination, then, you know, big dreams come true. And that's why I did the big elephant, just to exaggerate a little bit. And I think, as for us as an artist, if we have big imagination, then big things can come up. And I think that's about it. And as we can see, you know, all the posters here are just beautiful, and that's one of the unbridledness of you know, if we unbridle our soul and our imagination, then each one of us can that everyone's style is just different and unique. Pardon me? Oh, I used Illustrator and Adobe Photoshop. It was very simple. Photoshop was used only for the texture, the folded paper, and just to bring the colors up. And Illustrator was used only for the. I've learned a lot, actually. It just opened my eyes how much we can actually do, and you know, Illustration and Photoshop is only the tools that we can use, but you know, most comes from our heart and from our mind.